Okay, let's unpack this. Friday Night SmackDown. You send in some truly wild highlights, and you weren't kidding. It really felt like one of those nights where, you know, anything could happen.
It really did, yeah. Looking at the transcript from that WWE Top 10 video from May 2nd, you can just see how much ground they covered. It wasn't just like a regular show. It felt more like a series of potential turning points.
Exactly. And that's what we want to do here. Go beyond just, listing what happened and figure out what it means. What are the key developments, the year-in-year surprising shifts, the potential storylines that you really need to be paying attention to. We're skipping the minute by minute and focusing on the stuff that might actually stick.
Well, and what's fascinating is how many layers there were just in this one episode. You had these incredible feats of athleticism right alongside rivalries just heating up, like seriously boiling over, and then interference that just completely flipped the script on what you expected. It really shows the kind of dynamic state of WWE right now.
Let's jump right into that athleticism then. That was definitely a headline. That power bomb attempt, for instance. I mean, the commentator yelling, "Ban that move immediately." Yeah. That tells you everything, doesn't it, about the risk?
Oh, absolutely. That kind of visceral reaction, it really speaks to that ongoing conversation in wrestling, balancing these spectacular high-impact moves with the performer's long-term health.
Right.
It highlights the risk these athletes take, maybe a growing sensitivity to injuries.
And speaking of impact, Aleister Black and The Miz, that was intense. Black lands this, what they called a thunderous strike. But then, well, you can never count The Miz out, right? He immediately counters.
Yeah.
What is it about a veteran like Miz that makes him so resilient?
Well, I think The Miz's longevity, it comes from his ring awareness, his adaptability. He might not always outpower someone, but he's a master at exploiting those little openings, using an opponent's momentum against them. That quick counter, pure experience, tactical thinking.
Then there was that unbelievable moment. Black goes for the skull-crushing finale, his, signature move. And The Miz counters with a cartwheel reversal. I mean, who sees that coming? What is a move like that? So unexpected. Signal about where Miz is at right now.
A counter like that, it just injects so much surprise. It shows Miz is still, evolving, finding new ways to compete. Maybe it suggests a bit of desperation, but also definitely a creative and resourceful approach.
Absolutely. Then we shifted gears to tag teams, Fraxium and Nathan Frazier. Those rapid tags kept their opponents completely off balance. What's the strategy there?
Well, rapid tags, they disrupt the opponent's rhythm, right? You prevent them from focusing on one person. It lets the fresh partner jump in and capitalize on openings, shows off their teamwork, their stamina.
And getting that undefeated streak going like they are, 2 for 2 on SmackDown, they said. That's huge for newer teams trying to make a mark.
It really is. It's how you build credibility, get seen as serious contenders.
And they finished strong, that Spanish fly into the Phoenix Splash. Impressive combo. But what kind of challenges do you think they still need to overcome to really solidify their place?
Well, momentum's great, but they'll need to prove themselves against more established teams, different styles. Can they adapt their strategy? Can they withstand a beating? Those are the real tests coming up.
Okay, let's switch over to the Women's United States Championship. Selena Vega getting the win, but man, it was messy, that near 619 moment.
Oh, yeah, the crowd was ready for that one.
What does teasing a signature move like that do for the drama?
It just heightens everything, doesn't it? Creates that anticipation, makes the audience believe, okay, this could be it. It plays on that familiarity, the excitement of seeing a big, iconic move.
Then you had Chelsea Green described as a week from being dethroned, interfering again. This feels like her go-to move lately.
It really does. It's becoming a pattern.
What does that tell us about her character, her situation?
Well, Green's constant interference, especially now, it just screams desperation, a refusal to lose fairly, maybe a lack of confidence in herself, relying on bending the rules to hang on. The commentary really hammered home how things keep backfiring for her and her regime.
And it wasn't just her. Red Bell Piper tried to get involved too. It was almost comical how many roadblocks they threw up. And Vega still won. What does that say about Vega?
It just underlines her determination, her fighting spirit, right?
Yeah.
Overcoming all that cheating. It establishes her as a champion who can persevere, even when the deck is totally stacked against her.
Yeah, they called it a colossal disaster for the Green regime, 4th week running, and mentioned that friendly fire incident. This kind of internal conflict, stables falling apart.
Yeah.
That's where things get interesting.
Oh, definitely. That friction often leads to power struggles, blame games. You could easily see someone breaking away, maybe even siding with Vega eventually. Creates a whole new dynamic.
Okay, shifting gears again. Aleister Black's singles match. Decisive win, but Carmelo Hayes seemed almost hesitant at first. Why would a guy like Hayes, usually so confident, show that kind of caution against Black?
Could be a few things, I think. Black's reputation alone, dangerous, unpredictable, that commands respect. Maybe even a bit of apprehension. Or maybe Hayes was being strategic, trying to size Black up, look for an opening before fully committing.
Hayes did try that quick roll-up, but Black kicked out easily, and then bam, Black mask, done. That move always looks devastating. Why is a finisher like that so effective, narratively?
A powerful finisher like the Black Mass, it just gives a sense of finality. You know, it establishes that hierarchy. When that move connects, it's over. End of story.
And the commentary reinforced it. Mysterious, intense, highly dangerous. That really helps build his whole aura.
Absolutely.
And then that face-off with Hayes after the match. Okay, that's a matchup I'm suddenly very interested in.
Mm-hmm.
What makes that potential clash work, do you think?
It's the contrast in styles, isn't it? Black's striking, that dark intensity, versus Hayes's, agility and charisma. That could make for a really fascinating feud, appeal to different parts of the audience.
We also saw Rey Fenix flying high again, the Adios Amigos, that top rope Meteora. Wow. Phoenix is all about that aerial style. What does that bring to his matches?
Excitement, unpredictability. Phoenix's style is high risk, high reward. Those innovative moves, they create those, did you see that? Moments that fans remember. Just highlights his incredible athleticism.
And after the win, he grabs the mic, says he's not done going after gold, makes a pretty intense statement that really puts everyone on notice.
Exactly. Post-match promos like that, they establish clear intentions, add a personal edge, suggests he's willing to go to extremes. Where do you see him fitting in?
That's the question, isn't it? Which title does he target? Could set up some really interesting clashes depending on who's holding the gold.
Yeah, especially against maybe a more grounded, power-based champion. That contrast again.
Okay, now let's get into the real chaos. Jade Cargill, Naomi, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton. There's beef before the bell even rang. Naomi jumping Cargill, Nia jumping Stratton.
Right, payback attempts before the match even starts. That just ramps up the volatility immediately.
What does it tell you when the story starts spilling outside the official match time like that?
It just intensifies that personal conflict, you know? Suggests they're so eager to get at each other, they can't even wait for the rules.
Yeah.
Pure animosity.
And then, during Damian Priest versus LA Knight, boom, Solo Sikoa interferes, match thrown out. Just like that. Attacking the champion mid-match. That's a massive statement. What do you think set that off?
Well, they mentioned Priest might have been talking too much trash to Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, so maybe it's about respect. Or crossing a line within their faction, maybe. It wasn't random. Seemed like a direct response.
But then Sikoa goes after LA Knight too. They called it statement time. So, attacking both guys. What's the message there?
Dominance. Pure and simple. He's inserting himself right into the main event picture, telling everyone he's a major threat, capable of disrupting everything.
Priest managed to counter the Samoan spike attempt, but then Jacob Fatu jumps in to save Sikoa. That shows their bond, right?
Absolutely. Reinforces that alliance, that loyalty. They protect each other. That's huge in today's wrestling landscape. Factions add so many layers, potential interference, support systems.
And through all this, LA Knight, the perpetual motion machine, somehow manages to hit a Samoan drop on Priest onto the announce desk. Brutal.
It's relentless.
And Fatu, who is the U.S. champion, mind you, was described as completely off the chain before that running hip attack into the barrier. Having a champion involved like that just adds another layer, doesn't it?
Oh, totally. Fatu's U.S. title brings more stakes into it. Could become a target for Priest or Knight. Or maybe Fatu uses it as leverage to stay involved at this level. Lots of possibilities.
Okay, circling back to the women's chaos. Tiffany Stratton breaks up a move on Jade with a swanton. Potentially hurts herself doing it. Risky move.
Shows her determination, for sure. But yeah, adds that layer of realism, the risk involved.
The Nia Jax just squashes both Tiffany and Naomi in the corner. Like, alliance over.
Yeah.
What does that usually mean when a temporary team just dissolves like that?
Usually signals a return to individual rivalries, right? Or maybe the start of a new feud between the former partners. Clears the deck for singles runs.
Nia sets up Jade for the finish, but then, holy cow, Jade gets Nia up on her shoulders for the pin. That strength display. Lifting Nia Jax, that's huge.
Huge GE moment. That feat of strength instantly elevates Jade, shows she can hang with and even beat the most physically dominant women, sends a massive message about her potential.
And finally, that intense face-to-face. Randy Orton and the champion. Champion calls himself the last real champion, threatens Orton with the punt, the RKO, specifically for backlash in Orton's hometown.
Woof! Making it personal. Referencing the hometown family. That adds serious stakes. And calling out specific dangerous moves like the punt and RKO, that promises brutality.
What do those personal threats really add?
Emotional investment. It becomes more than just the title. It feels like genuine hatred, makes the outcome feel way more significant.
And just to wrap the women's division chaos, that epic powerbomb by Stratton and Cargill on Jax, they weren't friends, but they teamed up for that moment.
Yeah, neutralizing the common threat, right, even if there's still tension between them.
Then the women's champion tells Stratton, pointing at the belt, "That's mine." Clear message.
Sets up the next challenge, shows how crowded it is at the top. Everyone wants that gold, makes it unpredictable.
And then Naomi attacks Tiffany from behind. Distracted by the belt, maybe? Opportunistic.
Exactly. Highlights how cutthroat it is, how much that championship messes with people's heads.
So, yeah, to recap, this SmackDown was just loaded. High-flying action, huge title implications everywhere, alliances breaking down left and right, personal rivalries hitting boiling point.
Absolutely. This one show just laid groundwork for so many potential storylines. It's all interconnected, which makes it really engaging.
And leaves us with so many questions. What's the fallout from Solo Sikoa going nuclear? Can Selena Vega keep winning with Chelsea Green constantly interfering? Is Black versus Hayes going to explode? And, yeah, who walks out of Backlash with those titles?
Those are the big ones, aren't they? That uncertainty is what keeps you tuning in.
Okay, Deep Dive listener, here's one for you to chew on. With all this volatility, all these shifting alliances we just talked about, what single moment from this Friday Night SmackDown do you think is going to cause the biggest ripples down the line? What are you watching most closely? Let us know. We'll be back soon with another Deep Dive.